Good afternoon, good afternoon. It is time for the weather show, ladies and gentlemen, and we got a lot going on. We are going to dive right into all this. Oh, we got the full stream.
Yeah,
that's happening right now. We're looking at everything. We got meteorologist Robert Speta. I am Lewis Turner. It is so good to be with you here at 4:30 on a Thursday, getting closer and closer to the weekend. So a little inside the business. At First Coast News, we've been doing some housekeeping.
Yeah, we've been trying.
And we've been cleaning out desks. We're getting like new desks. Robert and I got kicked out of our desks, and then a pot of gold, almost, like, because as you clean, you start throwing things away, and there's this one file cabinet we've had for forever, obviously, and the boss comes over and is like, "Are we just throwing this away? Like, what are we doing with this?" So I put it on Robert Speta's shoulders as my resident historian to got to go through some of the stuff. We found some gold.
It absolutely amazing. Do you want to go through this now? You want to wait until
okay. Go for it.
So all right. Well, this is just a couple examples. I found one book, just a book, preliminary report of Hurricane Dora.
Yeah.
So wrote in 1964, and it's just some incredible data. Found some other stuff about hurricane hunters. The first official recon to fly into a hurricane hunter and some local connections to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. This one right here. Okay, this is a disaster preparedness manual from 1982. And the first line says, in Jacksonville, we have many natural and man-made disasters. There's a whole section on this from 1982 on what do you think?
A whole section on
disasters, man-made disasters in 1982.
Man-made disasters. So I would guess we're kind of flirting with Cold War-ish. Are we talking nuclear?
Yes.
Are we
There's
really?
a whole section about evacuating Jacksonville in a nuclear disaster, and where they would dig holes and throw tarps over it so people could hide in the holes.
You're kidding.
I'm dead serious. I haven't talked to Lew about this.
That was just a wild guess when he said man-made.
Right there, it says nuclear war. And it's a whole section.
That's ominous. What are you supposed to do? Just get in the hole and pray? Or getting in a hole just expedites you're in the ground now process.
My favorite is the presumption is made that the Soviets will attack us. That's what it says right here. Oh my God.
Okay, so glad we decided not to throw that away.
But at the very least, this is just history. Oh my God. And then, okay, I love this photo. I think I'm going to double check, see if this is original print. It was all laminated and everything. Yep. And it's kind of faded a little bit. This is the Tyros 3. It says on the back Tyros 3.
Weather satellite?
Which the first weather satellite was the Tyros 1.
So
the 3 is a really old school, like this thing is from the 50s. Wrote on the back, it says 50s on it.
Yeah.
And then, so if you're curious how this is from 1955. I don't know why we saved this. So, and on this particular one right here, so there's like this stamp. You see that?
Yes.
So this is an airmail stamp. So the Weather Bureau, not the Weather Service.
Yep, that's old.
Sent this out daily to newsrooms and operational forecasters, stuff like that, as a weather map. It was a follow-up behind the when they would actually Morse code out all the weather information. Yeah. They sent this.
Oh, that's unreal. Airmailed every single day. Well, that's the work that would go into it prior in order to get it to you on time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's not going to be real time, but it is a nice map with the upper levels and everything just every morning. Being a forecaster in the 50s, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's wild. And the Dora book we found was pretty cool because coming from the perspective of someone actually out taking observations and the colorful language being used.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty awesome.
One part was it was at Mayport. The winds were at 85 miles per hour sustained, and they said the waves were phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Right? That's cool. So, we got to put a way to compile all that and somehow get it out so you can enjoy it too. But in the meantime, we thought we'd give you a little taste. Let's switch up computers. I maybe told you, I maybe told you the wrong computer. It's the one that's got lovely Neptune Beach, a still shot or a video shot there. If we can take that computer.
Miracle Max. I was trying to be clever. Max 4.
4, the Quattro. If we hop into that one, we'll get into our forecasting for today, for our weekend coming up, and then our next best chance of rain, which we do have a weather impact alert on the 7-day forecast, which we kind of alluded to there at the very, very beginning of this. But it is a gorgeous day out at Neptune Beach, and a lot of folks are taking advantage of it. Temperatures at the beach in the low 70s.
I'm looking at that dew point.
And the dew point at 50 at the beach, even with those winds coming in hard out of the northeast, we got some dry air. We'll show you some more dew points in a minute. Pretty extreme, especially in southeast Georgia, where it's feeling like the high desert, more so than the Okefenokee swamp. But this morning, woke up to 46 degrees. How about that?
I went for a run in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And as I was running, I was like, this Florida weather is getting to me because I was freezing. I was like, I should have brought a jacket.
And it was amazing the kind of and again, not something that we've done in 192 days. Got to go all the way back to April 13th of this year for this kind of chilly weather. So it's been a while, and we're gonna have another morning not quite that cold, but still for some, especially west of the river, you get a little, several miles west of the river and away from the water influence, you're gonna get back in the 40s again. So another cool morning, and just kind of throwing this out there for you. If it's 4:36 and you're about to head out to dinner tonight, and maybe there's outdoor dining in your plans, or you're just gonna be walking around and enjoying Jacksonville or the beaches or St. Augustine. Temperatures right now inland away from the beaches around 74, and they'll dip pretty quickly. As Robert mentioned, those dew points are low. Drier air cools off faster, so once that sun goes down, we'll start to lose temperature pretty quick. And then as we're waking up in the morning, speaking of morning run, or if you're a walker, biker to school, heading to the bus stop, it's going to be another chilly start for the kids.
Oof, crisp. Time to get the sweaters back out.
Seriously.
Like the kid, but it is that time of year. Like I grew up north. And it's that time of year where it kind of reminds me of you got to put on the jacket in the morning, but then by the afternoon, it's like you're kind of carrying it around. It's going to be back into the 80s.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, it's warm. It's going to be 80 degrees the afternoon, but in the morning, it's just classic Jacksonville wrap and peel weather. Now, the beaches, maybe not so much from Palm Coast up to Mayport. Now, southeast Georgia and the Golden Isles still a little cool. So on St. Simon's, Jekyll, you'll need the layer. Brunswick for sure. Waycross in those middle 40s again. So waking up another cold start out there, and it's been dry, and those drought conditions now have creeped all the way. At least dry conditions have creeped, which would be the precursor to a moderate drought, and all the way across Duval, a little sliver of northwest St. Johns County, and then you see out towards I-10 the extreme levels of drought. So a group of folks that could certainly use the rain, and it looks like by late weekend, early first part of next week, we'll get a little bit of rain. Maybe nothing that's truly drought busting, but we need some.
I noticed there's no red flag warnings out.
Yep.
But red flag different than the beach.
Yeah.
We're talking about fire weather. But I did notice the National Weather Service did put in their discussion, like, hey, if you could refrain from, burning stuff, that would be great.
I think their wording was great. I liked it. Know your limitations.
Oh, really?
Everybody, a man must know his limitations. And when it comes to burning, maybe you're going to do some s'mores with the kids or something because it feels great out at night and you want to, take advantage of it, the little burn barrel or whatever you may have. Just make sure those embers are staying within the burn barrel and not getting into any potential kindling
in
the yard.
Double gasoline lighter fluid squirting on the fire.
Sounds like you've got experience with that.
Yeah, just every 4th of July. That's what I do. Skip the fireworks.
Forget the fireworks. Just get the
full Florida man right there.
Kingsford lighter fluid and just start really making a scene. Our next best rain chances, though, we do have that low coming from the west. Probably picking up a good bit of moisture from the Gulf, and that's kind of what we're watching. The orientation of the low. We've got kind of a local nor'easter setting setting up for Saturday, Sunday. Little kink in the isobars, perhaps cutting off that low that we've got drawn. I'm going to update this map, of course. By this point, Monday, it will be up closer to the coast of South Carolina. So kind of redrawn that. You can see where those circles are. But nonetheless, the point remains that Monday may be getting some wraparound moisture with that, and our next best chance of rain, which leads us to our weather impact alert for Monday. Some widely scattered showers, maybe even isolated thunder out there, primarily during the times of commute. I want you to have your rain gear handy and use extra caution in the commute. All right, we're going to take a quick break here at 4:40, and we're going to talk more about it coming up right after the break. Sorry, dude.
No, you're good.
All right, welcome back. Robert and I just really still savoring some of this history in that nuclear preparedness from '82.
Jeez.
Things you find around the hallways, the hallowed grounds of First Coast News. Thoughts on weather impact alert for Monday?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be messy at the very least. And this really does illustrate the fact that these weather impact alerts are never meant to hype this up or say there's going to be severe weather. At the very least, widely scattered showers in the morning or evening commute means it's going to be slippery. Like it's going to impact your day.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's it.
Yep, it's kind of life impacting weather. So and even if it's the matter of just keeping it on the front of your mind so you don't forget the rain gear on Monday, that's the point. So we're not, absolutely no hype, just and the severity level at this point, way too early to determine specific timelines of that anyway. So we won't do that. We'll just focus kind of on the Monday as a whole. Certainly some models tend to favor that morning commute over other parts, and that would be just enough of a mess right there and might impact school drop-off and pickups too. Well, let's talk tropics. So some of our big headlines when it comes to Tropical Storm Melissa, it is still forecast to become a major hurricane, but the kind of question right now, as it's sort of been facing some sheer and dry air, is when, because gosh, is this a slow burn? Significant flooding possible across Jamaica, but you've also looked at potential impacts for Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Haiti, et cetera. So really the Caribbean islands, kind of adjacent to Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, but the Bahamas as well. But that turn north over Cuba does seem more and more likely.
And we mentioned Gitmo specifically, Guantanamo Bay, because big Navy town here in Jacksonville. We actually have direct fact, like the way you get to Guantanamo Bay
Yep.
As a military personnel, 9 out of 10 times you're flying out of NAS Jax.
Correct.
That's where so very close connections. So when people say, it's no impacts here in Jacksonville, it's like, actually there could be families
Yeah.
that are here and their spouse is stationed in Gitmo that are going to be in the path potentially of this storm system. So that's why we kind of point that part out.
100%. And you actually, I mean, if you can remember just like a piece of local news that would emphasize that point. Remember that plane that crashed into the St. Johns River? Mm-hmm. I know, I mean, that was a Gitmo Express, basically.
The miracle on the St. John's, they called it.
100%. Yeah, amazing. Like, no one died in that. But yeah, plane went right out of, if you're new to the area, it was a plane crash. Came right off the runway. It was really bad weather. In fact, potential microbursts that happened.
Yes.
With that caused some issues.
I actually read and went through the whole transcript from after the fact when the official report came out on it. And what basically happened, they were landing, but they tried to get in. They didn't want to divert. So when they were landing, the thunderstorm was behind them, and the outflow rushed over the wings from behind. So in theory, the wind over the wings basically dropped to nearly zero. So it just had to go down as it landed, it just kept going. At least they landed. It was a miracle. They put it down and it ran off the end of the runway and into the water there.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing stuff. You see the forecast cone for Melissa, and notable is the motion at north-northwest. Now it has the motion directions changed somewhat, but still at 2 miles an hour. We're waiting on those 5 o'clock numbers, and I anticipate that'll update any moment. And of course, at 5 p.m. when you're watching First Coast News, we'll have that for you there. But timing is also interesting with this cone. Forecast to become a major hurricane, but this cone, which is a circle, goes out to Tuesday. So I mean, we're here at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. This is the 5-day forecast cone, and that's the speed that this is going to move is why it looks like this.
Two things really stand out to me here, Lou. One, the next 24 hours, it's a tropical storm, and then it goes from TS to 3-4, just like that. They're expecting some rapid intensification.
Yep.
The second thing is between Friday and about Saturday and Tuesday.
Yep.
This is off the coast of Jamaica.
Yeah, right, hugging Jamaica. So whether it makes landfall there or not, I mean, the rainfall being on that right side of the storm as well. Jamaica's in for a lot of problems with this. And just looking at our forecast models, why the cone looks the way it does. One is timing, and one is, there's still a little differentiation of how far south, how far west this thing will continue to move before it does ultimately make that hard turn back out to the north. And the Bahamas certainly need to be watching this very carefully. And maybe, a worst case scenario would be, southeastern Florida gets some breezy conditions, some rough surf, some maritime kind of influence, and maybe a rain band or two off the extreme edges of this. But your model comparison from your big global kind of models here, GFS and Euro. GFS a little faster, Euro taking its time, but really impacting Jamaica with this run, and then Guantanamo over the Bahamas and out to sea picking up speed. But we're watching this all next week, it seems.
It's going to be slow burn with this one. I really got a feel for our friends out here in Haiti. Well, see that? Our in-house
model wants it to, it's been doing this the whole time too. It's been I think that might be overdoing it.
But I noticed now this is something we don't have access to display here, but the Google DeepMind is the AI model from Google. It's new, experimental. That continues to show it more with the ECMWF is showing further towards the west, towards Jamaica. So there's some uncertainty. It's basically the fight between two troughs. The GFS wants to pick up this first trough. The Euro and the AI model that later, kind of with the hurricane track, is showing this same storm that is going to bring us the rain to Jacksonville and the First Coast on Monday. The trough from that is going to hook it, and that's why it takes till like Tuesday into Wednesday before it turns towards the north. This graphic, Lou, that everywhere in the yellow, what is it, about 10 inches?
And this would this is more of the Euro lean. So if it were to do what the deep mind as well as Euro has kind of been hinting at, as opposed to GFS, yeah, you're up and over that 10-inch rainfall amount, that bright yellow. And when you're talking about mountains, which these islands all have, or at least hilly condition, you're going to get some flooding, mudsliding, and life-threatening conditions. So we're thinking very carefully for our interests in the Caribbean and our friends there, and anybody that might have travel plans those fall vacations. If you were sneaking out trying to take that cruise, I'm sure you're going to have some updated, changed itineraries as well, with the probabilities of, on the extreme end, just a 10% chance of maybe seeing some tropical storm force winds brushing up against the Florida Keys and clearing out into straits. Robert mentioned the troughs, and we've got a pretty southern jet, which is also providing some pretty good steering as well, and why we remain pretty confident that this system won't be directly impacting Northeast Florida, and our confidence is very high.
Yeah,
on that as well.
It's like the equivalent of water trying to roll uphill. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
I think if we get any sort of impacts, we might get the interaction between this low and a high towards the west that could increase kind of some coastal nor'easter type winds.
Yep.
But that's something that it's one of those multitude of possibilities that we would have to look at later down the road, because it's just so slow moving right now. There's
your dry air and that shear that we mentioned at the top, kind of this, what's keeping it a little lopsided still, but things are going to get better for this. All right, so there's your tropical look. We're going to come back local, some big events happening around town as we get through our weekend. We'll go through that forecast after this short break. Stay with us. So in the last couple of moments here, we got about 4 minutes left. We'll go through some conditions. And, the troughs coming across the country, if you're not worried about, or the first trough that's going through and with this system doesn't pick it up like the GFS suggests, there's more out to the west. And again, another, hello? Hello. I was looking for my infrared.
Okay.
It didn't.
Sometimes the computer just
said, nope, I'm not doing it for you. But there is no error here with this. This is what your satellite and radar imagery looks like around our first coast. Right now we're dry, comfortable temperatures out there for the evening, and here's your dew points.
Whoa.
Look at Waycross.
I'm looking at Waycross and Valdosta.
31. We saw that earlier this week, too. And so that just tells me, I know maybe the dew points will come up a little bit as you go overnight, but you could be very chilly as you're waking up Waycross, Valdosta, Brunswick.
That leads to just 40s. Clear skies tonight, too.
Yep.
It's going to get chilly out there.
Decoupled wind. You might get some cooler temperatures.
Extra blanket.
Modeling is kind of nailing the. So modeling suggests Jacksonville will be around 50 as you wake up, and it has so far nailed the dew point forecast for the day. So that seems about right. Maybe 50, maybe, upper 40s wouldn't be a shock either. But right now, that's kind of what we're going with those breezes. Still about 10 to 15 at the beach. Bigger picture, look around our country right now around the Great Lakes. Seeing snow. That Upper Peninsula, Michigan, maybe hinting along the Great Lakes, and then looking out west, Pacific Northwest, about to get geared up with a little atmospheric river.
Ooh, the Pineapple Express.
Yep. So another system that would be coming across the country. So it's a parade of fronts for us. The temperatures from Texas and south in the low 80s, but we definitely have some cooler air back in the Rockies. For your Friday, 80, low of 50, cool morning, sunny afternoon, looking pleasant, 79 for a Saturday with that nor'easter setup, and we're going to talk about breezy conditions for our beaches. The rest of your night tonight, very pleasant. Maybe take a light layer for your evening plans, and I'm just throwing this into motion. We do take this out to Sunday, where we'll kind of zoom out a little bit, a few coastal showers on that nor'easter setup, and then there's what would be our big event that we're highlighting on Monday. And right now, and then this is as far as our in-house modeling goes, but right now maybe that split kind of occurring.
That'd be good if it kind of falls apart a little bit, but
so things we got to watch in the meantime, though. Confidence kind of medium that we would get some pretty big impacts as far as our commute and our mornings go. Want to throw a little fishing forecast in if you want to try to catch a mangrove snapper, intracoastal moderate chop out there, and it will be breezy, so I'd suggest the intracoastal and St. Johns River for any boating or fishing, Robert.